Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for being here today at Lake Township. Today is October 25th, and we are at the MACC Policy Board meeting. We'll start out with introductions for the record. If I might hear on my right, I think
Dean Captain from Bellevue County. Just Jim is sick today, so he said, "Can you fill in?" So I'm thrilled to be here.
thank you for making it.
You bet.
John Clark-Axel, I'm County Road Commission.
Russ Tislau with the MACC Authority Board.
Howard Bauman with Port Sheldon Township.
And Ken DeWeert from Fillmore Township.
Nathan Box, City of Holland.
Sally Gruffin, Mayor Pro Tem of the City of Zeeland.
Tom Bird, Ottawa Road Commission.
Tyler Kent, MDOT.
Tom Unk, Zeeland Township.
Linda Howell, Lake Town Township.
Terry Nienhuis, Holland Township.
Pankaj Rajatyaksh with the MACC.
Terry Martin, Carrier Gable.
And Anton Showerty with the MACC.
Okay. All right, well, thank you, everybody, and the next item up we have is the approval of the minutes from September 27th. Does anyone have any changes or additions or deletions that you've seen? If not, can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Public comments, any comments from the public? Nope, okay. All right, we are up to a transportation program already, Anton, and just wondering if you want to cover some of the things with the tech committee and the TIP projects.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, good afternoon. Let's see. So for today, we just have one agenda item for you: the 2023 to 2026 Transportation Improvement Program project selection. So 2 weeks ago at the MACC Tech, is that showing up? Okay. At the MACC Tech Committee, the allocations for the Surface Transportation Program and for congestion mitigation for air quality funds were approved, and that breakdown is on this sheet right here, kind of that chart right after your agenda. So if you take a look at that, and specifically sort of the red, the line items in red and bolded, we're looking specifically at the MACC portion. So in the past, this current transportation improvement program, we have $17,000 for data collection purposes currently allocated, and $40,000 for CMAQ. And as you can tell, that would be being reduced for the next 3 fiscal years, starting in fiscal year 2024. So I just wanted to point out sort of what those funds are used for, primarily for the data collection purposes. Those are traffic counts, and we can conduct that on an annual basis, and that is federally required, and the information that we submit through the Highway Performance Monitoring System. And all that data has to be collected, though not necessarily by the MACC. So that is something that the local agencies could, if they wanted to, take on if they so cared to do so. And then in looking at the CMAQ side of things, those funds are mostly used for clean air action, staffing those kind of events, purchasing materials that we would give away in events, things like that, as well as radio and TV advertisements. And important to note that we are, some of these things are, we work with the MPO in Grand Rapids as well as Muskegon, and a lot of these partnerships. So just to kind of give you an update on how those funds are usually spent. So with that, any questions on any of that I've mentioned?
Hey, Anton, maybe one comment I have is when I attended the technical meeting earlier this month, we had looked at, just trying to identify the projects and get a rough range of what the costs are. There is no, unless there is a specific project that's gone through design process already, I don't think these costs are final. It's just kind of an idea of what projects the larger group agreed with. Costs can go up or down depending on the estimates, depending on the local share with the federal amount. So there is some wiggle room in the cost, but these are generally, I believe, what the technical committee wanted to review, or wanted to have this group review and consider, along with kind of the other issues, Anton, that you talked about earlier. So,
yeah.
Is it appropriate to make a motion to approve the projects as presented?
Yeah, I guess I'd recommend approving the projects as recommended, but sending it back to the technical committee with to sort of further, I guess.
refine those costs, I would argue.
Exactly. Refine the costs.
And make sure there's enough allocated for the MAC to continue the CMAC program and traffic counts on behalf of the local agencies.
So.
That's exactly what I would move.
To clarify, at least as far as what I understood it to be, was when they made those changes, if you look out in the future years, there's about 40 or 48,000 that was taken out of the MAC budget. We don't have room to make any more cuts. Joke. But the data collection, and I don't know every single item that goes into that, but that's federally mandated, so it's not an option of whether we can do it or not. It's just that the MAC has done it for the MAC members. So if that funding stays the way it is, that responsibility might be shifted to each unit of government that need to do it accordingly. And I think that would be disjointed and kind of beats the purpose of the MAC. So I think when we go back to the tech committee, we're going to make some adjustments, but it may come out of some other projects, but some of that MAC funding has to be restored if you want the MAC to do some of those things. I think it'll be more efficient as opposed to each place sending out their own individual employees, and I'm not sure what equipment you need, all that good stuff. So we just didn't realize it at the time. So. And I especially want to thank, of course, MDOT for the help, but Anton for all his work in pulling all that together. And it's a lot of effort, usually probably work for 1.5 person, so. But, so appreciate that. But if you have anything more to add, please go ahead.
The only other thing I was going to add was in terms of the CMAC funding. I know in the previous TIP, fiscal year 17 through 20, we had about 60,000 in federal funds or so, and I think we purchased a lot of materials, promotional materials to give out. So we're kind of low in that sense right now. So that's another kind of reason to sort of kind of restore at least some of that funding back. But yeah, that's all I have for that.
So in November, we should see a final, or close to final version. Okay. Okay, so we'll take Tom's motion to approve with subject to change in November. Okay.
Support.
Second. Linda? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. MDOT. You're up, Tyler.
I am. So, a couple of just general planning updates. Nothing too specific with projects, aside from those who are probably noticing all the work going on 196, 31. I do not have the specific dates of 196 wrapping up kind of on the southwest side of Holland here, kind of outside our window. Before the snow flies would be the goal, but there's shoulder work and kind of median crossover work ongoing with 196 between, we'll just call it Zeeland and Hudsonville. That's one of the bonded projects from about 1.5 years ago. It's a full reconstruct, and that'll be ongoing over the next probably let's say, year to year and a half time frame. So there's a lot of pre-construction work going on right now is what you're seeing, but the real work, the real hardcore work is next spring, summer, and fall. Then generally speaking, the state long-range transportation plan, that draft has gone through public comment. For those not familiar, the long-range plan is a 20-year policy level document at the statewide level. It's not too different than what the MPO does here every 4 to 5 years, except that this document kind of collects all the other MPO long-range plans. It looks at the non-MPO, non-urbanized areas in the state. It's more of a policy level document more than a project-specific document. And that draft will be approved by the State Transportation Commission at their November meetings. And at that same time as well, our annual 5-year program, again, it's annual, so it comes back every year. That will also be approved as well. So, and also this tip list incorporates a lot of the coordination efforts between different agencies as well. It's one thing I probably should have mentioned before approval, but the technical committee did a good job of coordinating those projects between each other and with MDOT. I think that's all I got.
Okay, any questions for Tyler? No? Okay. We thought we would, some of you may be aware or remember the community enhancement program that the MACC had started off, I should say, maybe 3 years ago. And that's been quite well received in the community. And I know Judy's active on that group, with that group. And then Sally chairs that group, I believe. So we've asked Sally maybe to just give us a quick update, and then at some point in the future, maybe once a year, we'll provide you with a log of projects, where the dollars have gone, and probably within the next month or two, we'll have something put together. But it's been well received.
Thank you. I'm grateful for the opportunity to talk just for a few minutes on this committee that we serve on. As a matter of fact, our committee was asking Judy to get us on your agenda, and it just happens to be the same time that Kevin isn't here, and so I get to be a double duty person. We have 6 units that we started out with 8, I think. We've lost 2 along the way. Oh no, we started out with 7. Help me out here, Russ. Maybe 7. And then 2 of them left for various reasons. We didn't have projects in front of us that they really thought was benefiting their own groups. Holland didn't join at first because they didn't. And but have seen the value of it, and now they have a representative that they've sent along. So we are Zeeland Park Township, Holland City, not Zeeland Township. Help me out. Yeah, let's see. Holland City, Zeeland Township. I had it written at some place here. Park Township, Holland Township, and Laketon Township, where we sit today. Linda was an amazing member for many, many years until she decided to take on a new position, and we now have Gary Dewey, who is a breath of fresh air. I don't know if any of you know him, but he does a great job for us also. Steve Spoolhoff has taken place of a gal that we had for several years. By the way, we did start in 2017. We were chartered at that point, and appointed by the MACC Policy Board. And what we did was we received a letter. They kind of decided it would be a great idea to have this group that has a pot of money that can help things, that instead of small businesses or nonprofits that will come to each one of us individually, they had a place to go to help fund some of their projects. And so we had a mission. The mission that was in front of us said that, let's see, where do I have that written down? We actually were just given a group of people together, each entity that decided they wanted to join at that particular time, not only said that they would send money, but they would appoint a person. I've been on for the full 2017 years. The first year, we spent a lot of time writing our own bylaws, old things that we had to do, and that has served us very well since then. We continue to go back to our bylaws. What we received from this group, if you remember, 12 items, I don't know if I got it here or not, that just listed the things, possible things that we could give money to. Windmill Island, the lighthouse, the museum. I mean, a listing of things that this group gave to us that we should think about contributing to if they had a project and if they filled out a form. So what we would love from this group not only is to have more people join us, because it's benefited a lot of people around us, but we would love for this group to keep that committee. Every time you have a meeting, mention it. Mention it to the people that come to you, and that's how we're getting people. They have to just go to your site, the MACC site, and find the CEP information, and they can fill out a form, and it gets to us. And we have money to donate. We've worked on some major, just wonderful, wonderful projects. We have given money to 10 of the initial things that were on the listing of 12 items. And so that gives us pride, and sometimes a couple times over, but we don't give money unless somebody applies for it and takes it out. We work very, very closely with the Holland Zeeland Community Foundation, and they have not swapping money in any way, but swapping ideas and telling us how to initially get started. Russ, I think I keep pointing at you, but I forgot to say that. Russ is just our great representative, and he serves as the vice president. We had elections. Every October we have elections, and I was again elected chairman, and Russ vice chair, and I think that's been that way. Has it been that way the entire time?
I believe so. After the second year for sure.
We're certainly willing to do it. We love that opportunity. We meet with groups. We think that this group is really, the MACC itself is really helping nonprofits and things in our area that benefit all of us. And so we're pretty proud of it. Do you have any questions at all?
I just wanted to mention that observatory or whatever that's going up. I think we participated in that, did we not? Or the CEP?
We did, and that's starting to build right now. We've given, lately, the Pump House Museum, if you're not aware of that, we had a opportunity to go and have our meeting there last month. And they're working on a couple of really important exhibits, and they will be moved around to different places, but they were worked on the Jennison Park exhibit, electric park exhibit, and then the Lakewood Farm and Zoo, which is an interactive display. It's not quite finished yet, but we're really all excited to see that. If you haven't stopped there, check on their hours and see what the small group of volunteers are trying to do to keep that history alive for this area. Holland Symphony readiness for school. On Wednesday morning, I believe, the Outdoor Discovery Center is having a grand opening of the Sally Smalley Nature Playscape at Windows on the Waterfront, and that is a project that we have also participated in funding. So if you get a chance on Wednesday morning or thereafter to enjoy that piece that a group has taken over and try to develop that, I think I've not been there myself, but I intend to go Wednesday morning, and I think it's a pretty wonderful project. And then, of course, the observatory. We're all excited about that. We get updates from the people that are making this project come to light, and it sounds like it's going to be pretty wonderful when it's finished, and a great benefit not only to all the people of Ottawa County in this area, but schools and things like that too. So pretty exciting to have something like that in our area.
Right. Any questions?
Sally, of the funds that you receive on an annual basis from these units of government and the organizations that you mentioned, do you then, does CEP then appropriate those funds? In other words, do you maintain a balance, or you just find a way to appropriate all those funds every year?
We've never appropriated, as far as I know. Russ, have we? All the funds every year, there's always a little something left over.
We started with a pool of money, and then every year, basically what we've taken in, we've basically spent. So we do have that pool of money basically from the beginning that's still there. just to carry us over from year to year. What we take in is basically spent out.
Yet either, it has to be a good project, and we spend time reviewing each project before we award the gifting.
Yeah, and there's really no administrative expense for the program. The checks are cut through the MAC, and the recipients have to sign a document that they'll provide proof of expenses and all those kind of things. So.
Thanks.
One thing, having had the honor of serving on CEP for a couple of years, I think for the MAC, for this board, one of the biggest pieces that I remember we looked at was, regardless of where the project is located, does it provide a benefit to the entire MAC area?
Oh, yeah.
So, it brings in that regional component.
Yeah.
So even though, the ones you rattled off don't cover every one of the municipalities participating, the idea was that it's stuff that's open to everybody. So regardless of location, it's kind of I think we've called it the tie that binds.
Yeah. Thanks for clarifying that.
Russ, do you have anything you want to add?
Nope, I think that was good, and if, we get a detailed listing for everybody at next month, we can see
Yeah.
all the project that we're
Yeah,
supporting.
Judy and I talked about putting something together. I thought she had something, but she took off, so. But thank you for serving for that long and making it happen, both of you. Thank you. Administrative issues, executive director search update. Just real quick, we decided to go with GovHR. It was, like a total of $5,000. We did get a proposal from that Mayor Kleinstra had worked on with the MML, but that was a full scope proposal, and it was $22,000. So we figured we can just use GovHR for the outreach, and we'll do the interviews ourselves, and which I will probably send an email out, but if you would consider, typically we've had 5 people on the interview group. I know I've asked Steve Bolthuis, and I think he got permission from Terry to
Yeah, I could give her permission.
to be part of the interview group. I felt since he had that position for a while would be a good person too. And some of the executive committee members also end up being part of that, but I certainly welcome anybody else. So if you're interested, please let me know, and we'll get a group together of 5 people, and obviously your input is important, and eventually, of course, they're public interviews, so either way, you have a chance to see the candidates as we get them. So. Yep.
Not that I'm volunteering.
You raised your hand. I saw a hand.
I'm just curious what work has been done or is going to be done to kind of take a look at the vision moving forward, so whomever the candidates are know what we're looking for in regard to the MAC, and the fact that we've lost a couple of directors in the last couple of years, how all of that fits in moving forward.
So, if you recall, within the last year, we had a strategic planning session I think at the Vote Works. And, I think at that point, the idea was to continue to grow the MAC. I know sometimes people look at the watershed being transferred to the ODC as something we've lost. Technically, we're still the face of those contracts. ODC is a subcontractor, so we still have some oversight there. Personally, to me, for any organization, if you're not going to grow it, you're going to die. So I think as a group, we're going to have to decide, what other things can the MAC do for you that are appropriate, and I'm not below stealing ideas from other MPOs, and, you know, I sometimes look at the GVMC website. I think they had a good turnaround story from a long time ago. So I think some of that will be things that I think we'd have to develop with the new executive director, or in concert with that person, as opposed to saying, because I don't think we have a unified vision right now of exactly the direction that everybody wants to go. And some of it is just because of the turnover we've had, but part of my goal is just to stabilize things first. We did make an offer to someone who's accepted, who worked for us before, Mara Garricky. She was an assistant transportation planner, and she'll be coming back as a full-time transportation planner. So that should take some of the load off of Anton as well, and she'll be able to hit the ground running. So my comment to the executive committee when we've met is said, you know, before we can put up the building, we gotta get the foundation back in a good spot, so.
I just want to make sure we're conveying that to potential candidates as part of this process,
Yes.
so that they understand,
Yeah.
you know, what it is what our expectations are
Yes.
moving
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah. And with the prior directors, I think it might just have not been the right fit. And I don't mean that from the standpoint that they weren't talented. They were very talented. But the problem is they had actually weren't from the MPO world. You know, Tim had been a city engineer. And also I don't think either one of them were used to working in smaller organizations where it's all of a sudden you have to do more things. You don't have an HR department or a lawyer or someone handy to. That might have been some of it. But so I think we just have to find the right fit. Ideally, somebody local that's already familiar with folks. So I can't give you a very definitive answer, but I think we'll work through it and we'll be transparent with whoever the candidates are. So.
No, I wasn't looking for anything definitive. I just wanted I wanted to be sure we were going to be expressing that well to the candidates as part of that process. Okay, great.
And maybe in a few months too, it's just thought going through my head, but we could do a survey of the members, just to kind of codify some of those things.
Yeah, and I'm a lawyer in my day job, so I love the idea of stealing ideas from other people.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what I do, and then charge people for it. So, yeah, more power to you.
So yeah, so hopefully we'll find somebody good that wants to stay in this position for a while. So. If there's no more questions in that, the financial report is enclosed. I don't know if you have any questions on that. You might have got it included twice, but any questions? Okay. If not, there's just a summary of what we discussed at the last MACC Executive Committee. We do have a request for approving a new board member. I think you recall at the last meeting I'd mentioned that after Judge Hannes Meyer retired, we needed to fill a position, and he was at large, as an at-large member, but I also wanted some female representation on the board and the executive committee. I think the last one on the executive committee was Rosemary, when she was superintendent of West Ottawa Schools. but she's been gone for a while. So Mayor Kleinster made a connection with Lakeshore Advantage and reached out to Jennifer Owens, who asked Amanda Hooper to join our board. And I've got a bio in there. Seems like, very well accomplished person. Plus, it might not be a bad idea to have somebody from the local economic development organization on our team. But I just need a formal approval. I think she's worked with some of you folks on different projects, so.
Are you looking for a motion?
Yes.
I would move that, I would move that she be added to the executive committee. I've known Mandy for 10, 15 years, worked with her on any number of projects. She would be fantastic.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Great.
I'll support that.
Yep.
I would just like to add that we've worked with Mandy some also in the township, and
Okay.
she'll make a great addition to the executive committee.
Interesting. Okay. All right.
Point of clarification, is it just, the way I heard Nate's motion was to the executive committee, I thought you wanted both board and executive.
The way it works is if you're appointed to the executive committee, you're automatically
Just
part
wanted
of
to
the
confirm.
policy, yeah, but
Okay.
thank you. Yep, yep. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, great. Next item up is election of officers. Although these are 8-year terms from when they were started, we have an election every October. And just for the record, Judy put this whole thing together. I don't think would have slept if you know Judy. I think Sally knows Judy. She has to have it done her way. But some of these were supposed to be vacant. But this is a slate that we're proposing. I'm more than happy if somebody else wants to take over the chair role. I've kind of been a de facto chair after David passed away, and then had done that before he was chair. But otherwise, the list you see there, and then I think she added Tom Unk with, I don't think she gave you much of a choice, did she?
She asked if I'd do it, I said, sure.
Okay, okay. So if somebody else wants to be on here or be the chair or whatever, please let me know. I don't need to do this.
I move that you're permanent chair.
No.
You're not limited to your years.
Yeah, but, yeah, and we can change this around later too if need be, but this is a current slate, so we'll just leave it there if nobody has any objections to it.
I'd just like to make a comment, Pankaj. You're doing a fine job, and we really appreciate it, but also all the work that you're doing in regards to the MACC itself.
Oh, sure,
And
yeah.
filling in. We'd be really up a creek if you hadn't devoted so much time to it as you have.
Oh,
Thank you very
yeah.
much.
Yep, no, my pleasure. Yep. Well, we've got a good team here, between Anton and Judy, so. Yeah. Okay, can I get a motion then to approve the officers as listed?
So moved.
Okay, second? Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
You opposed? Okay, motion passes. Member comments, Linda?
Well, welcome everybody to Lake Town. As I said earlier, I said with the weather today, our township is very aptly named. But the township actually is really busy. I'm not sure if you had a chance, and with the blinds closed, you can't see it, but we just added 2 pickleball courts in what we refer to as the backyard. And they're booked solid on a sunny day. It's really kind of amazing. We've now done 2 projects back here during my tenure, and the big question was, if you build it, will they come? And the softball, baseball field is booked solid all summer long, and the pickleball courts, which just opened a couple months ago, have likewise been really, really busy. Not as busy as our building permits. Year to date, we're at over $26 million. Last year, all year, was about 22.
Wow.
We very easily could break 30 million by the year end.
Wow.
And with really no end in sight, we've got a couple big chunks of property that were agricultural that have recently sold, and we anticipate the Planning Commission will be getting those plans in probably first quarter of next year. So, yeah, there's a lot, it's going great guns out here, which is great, but for our Planning Commission, I love them, because they are up to their eyeballs busy, and they're putting in the time and the effort to answer residents' questions and make sure that we don't lose anything in the process of growth.
Yeah.
The board here is doing strategic planning as well, again, in the context of our ARPA money and things along those lines, to make sure that we can make the best changes we can with the one-time chance we're gonna get on those kind of funds. But that being said, the fun side is this part of our season. Out at the Felt Mansion, we've got regular tours, and the volunteers out there put up Christmas trees in every single room. And we have people that outline the buildings and lights. It's absolutely stunning. So if you get a chance, get out there. There's a special Winter Fest that's really aimed toward families and kids on December 4 from 2 to 4. And we have taste and tours with music for adults on both Friday, December 10 and Friday, December 17. It's wine tasting, music, more of an adult event, and tickets are available starting on November 1st. So it's a great place. It's really, it really is pretty magical, especially as you pull up at night and you see those buildings completely outlined. When they've got all the lights on the main house, on the carriage house, on the chapel, it really is pretty stunning. So come on out and enjoy the festivities.
Fantastic. Any questions or comments from members? No? Okay, then there's no other items to be discussed. I will look for a motion for adjournment. Tom, can you get a second? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so our next meeting is November 22nd at Park Township Hall.